At the end of yesterday's episode, we had concluded that we may as well go ahead and get some of these little parts so that we can paint them at the same time as the pieces that are on step 10. And that way I don't have to, set up and clean up my airbrush an extra time. Now, these ones here, Photo Etch C11s, we need 5 of them. We did look at those yesterday. Being at the magnification that you're at, way back, in other words, you're probably not going to notice that each one of these little pieces has a thing hanging down on it, which was probably like a pulley or something like that, because these were supposed to go over top of the hatches, and they were probably designed to do one of two things: either lift the very heavy hatch, or lower something down into the well, this is where the turret would have been, so it might have been for lowering ammunition and shells and really heavy stuff like that, which makes sense. Either way, it makes sense. Maybe we'll know once we, do a little investigating. Anyway, we need 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as far as the Photo Etch D3s go, we need 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is them right here. That's 3. This is 3, and this is 3. And we need 4 of them. Well, there's 2 D sheets, so we've got the 4 pieces. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and you know what? I think I want to see what these plastic pieces look like. Let's find our plastic pieces here. F38s. We need 8 of them. F38. It's these things over here. There's 3 F sprues, and there's 3 of these on each sprue. We only need 8, but I think I'll take all 9 because Murphy's Law says one of them's probably going to get damaged. So, I'll put the macro lens on, and then you'll be able to see better what they are. There looks like some kind of a little ring that goes down on the deck. Okay, I realize I've got the sprue upside down for you, but it's easier for me to cut if I do it like this. Now, I'm going to be cutting way this side of the ring here, and I'll trim them off later. The part that we're going to want to keep is the part that's closest to you. That goes down in the hole in the deck. And I think you can see how it's supposed to go here. Okay, so I need a total of all of them. 1, 2, I wonder why those are sticking. 3. Is that static electricity, or have I got some kind of glue on there, maybe from masking tape? I don't know. Okay, now the other sprue. Keep them all together here. They're so small, I'm going to end up losing them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now these things are almost lost in the bottom of the tin. And how am I supposed to hang on to them to cut this part off? This part here that I'm, wait a minute. As you can see, this part here goes down into the deck. This piece up here has to be cut off. How do I hang on to that? And how am I going to stick them onto the double-sided tape to paint them? I wonder if maybe when that's stuck in there, I wonder maybe if I was to take a drill and put it through, all the way through, find a drill bit the right size. I think I've got one that small. Then I could sort of wedge this part up. See, if I put the drill bit through here, then I hold it so that this is down against my finger, then maybe I can get the cutter and just sort of cut this little top part off. I won't dare try to file them. Okay, let's try this one. I want to use the largest bit I can. See if I've got one just one size bigger. Okay, that one that we just tried was a 23 thousandths. I measured it. The next size up I got is this one. It's a 30 thousandths. And I think it might be too tight. I might end up, see if it wants to go through there. I'm going to have to take it out of here. Oh yeah, that's going to be okay. Okay, 30 thousandths is just about exactly right, providing that all the holes are the same, the same size, and I imagine they are. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Maybe I should be doing them one at a time here. Okay, 30 thousandths of an inch. Okay, it's a little bit too late to do anything about it now, but I'm wondering if maybe it would have been better to have left this part connected to the sprue and then carefully removed the ring from this part instead of trying to remove this part from the ring. Okay, I'll try and do this so that you can see what I'm doing here. I only get one chance at this. Well, do I dare to try and sand the top of it with the fine sandpaper? This must be very frustrating for you to watch. I apologize here. I did not know that my lens was not set to its closest focusing distance. I just hate it when this sort of thing happens. I don't know, is this a case of nothing is better than something, or anything is better than nothing? Anyway, I do make up for it in a moment when I stick the macro lens on. I think I'm going to just leave well enough alone. I'll see if I can do it with the macro lens for the next one. Okay, this is as close as I can get with the camera without putting on the super macro. Alright. Now can we do anything with the sanding disc here? Maybe if I go like this, it's going to roll. But if I go back and forth like this, maybe that would work. Let's just see what happens here. Just sort of get the burrs off of it. Okay, we'll try and change the perspective here. I must have a power tool down in my workshop that I do this. Now, Jim Steen away down in Thailand is about at the same spot I'm at. I got a feeling he's going to be doing this tomorrow, and I heard a voice yelling, "Ron, do one more, do one more." I'll bet it was him. You know, I don't want to do too good a job here. People will be mailing these to me to do for them. So, okay, Jim. As you can see, a 30 thousandths inch bit is just about right. A 31 thousandths might fit, but I don't think so. What do you mean you can't see them? Okay, I'll put my macro lens back on. I just did this because I want you to get perspective, because I realize that when you see it up close all the time with a macro lens, you can't really tell how terribly small some of this stuff is. I'll put the macro lens on. Okay, is that better? Every once in a while my mean streak comes out. I was about to say that if I could do it all over again, I'd leave the rings on the sprue and then cut the rings off as close as I could. But then I suddenly realized I'd have to stick them on the drill bit anyway to sand the tops of the rings off, so maybe this was the best way after all. Now, to figure out how I'm going to stick them down on the double-sided tape, because they've got to go onto the tape with the little pointy side down so that the ring gets painted. Yeah, well, we'll think of something. Fair amount of time has passed here now, and I've given this a lot of thought here. And our F-38s, which came off from here, here, and here, on the three different sprues. Now, I was talking about if I could do it all over again. Well, I have reconsidered, and I'm thinking, yes, if I could do it all over again, this is what I would try to do. Now, this is my first attempt on this. I may end up accidentally damaging one of these two pieces here when I try to do what I'm going to do. But I'm going to try and take this off and just go down only far enough to where it's at its narrowest so I don't spread it too much. Okay, now we're going to take it here. Okay, now can we nip it off up here? Now, if I was to be using my Tamiya nippers, they might do a more gentle job, but actually I don't think they're a whole lot narrower at the tip than this is. Okay, now let's get rid of this. Now remember our little rings here were on the end there. Now I would be able to hold this in my hand and take my Tamiya nippers and hold it at just the right angle so that I could see much more accurately what I was doing, and nip the ring off of the end here. And I probably would have been able to do it in such a way that there would be very, very little sanding that I would have to do. That's my thinking at this point. Now of course, I was doing it, I have to hold a lot of stuff so that the camera can see it. But if you don't have to be messing around with the camera, then, which I enjoy doing, by the way, but if you don't have to mess around with the camera, you can hold it up close to your eyes, and you have your magnification hood on and so on. Okay, so I'm not going to talk anymore about that. Now, our drill bit. Is it really 30 thousandths? I measured it roughly with this thing here, and that's what it came to. Just for the fun of it, I'll do it again here. Okay, it's on 0. Okay, what does that say?
Well, it says 29 or 30 thousandths, depending on how much pressure I put on it.
I'll reposition here so that you can see the screen. Okay, let's try and get this centered in the frame here. And I'm going to put a little block of wood under it so it'll hold it nice and level and it won't move. Okay, let's move in a little bit. Okay, we are set in inches, and what you're reading there is 10 thousandths of an inch. There's the decimal point right there. The ratchet, by the way, is on this one, not this one. Okay, we'll back her out.
I can well imagine that if I was to turn that drill bit a quarter turn and measure it the other way, I'd get a different reading. That drill bit came with a set of bits that was free with my pen mill. You can't expect a whole lot of precision for free.
Okay, so it is 308.5 10 thousandths. So it's actually closer to 31 thousandths than it is to 30. Okay, that's good to know, right? Right. We'll put this piece on here so it kind of looks like the drawing here. Now, this right here is this right here. So that means that these F-38s, they obviously go in these 4 spots right here, 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 and here. And on the other side, it's not symmetrical. I guess here, here, here. You know what? I'm seeing more openings. I'm wondering if there's more of these somewhere, or maybe a different size. Anyway, what I believe they probably are. See if I can pick one up here without breaking it. Okay, what I think they probably are is tie downs for stays for like maybe the funnel, or maybe for the mast, or not, yeah, the mast, probably for the mast. Anyway, I think that they're like tie downs. Now the Bismarck kit did not have these. I'll put the macro lens on, and we'll see if we can get this one to go into that hole. Is it going to fit? Okay, now very, very gently. Maybe I should be holding my tweezer more horizontally here. I'm going to reposition this on the tweezer. Now, if I had done a better job of painting my deck, in other words, thinned out the paint, or not held the airbrush so far away, or done something right, I probably wouldn't have scratched it as bad as I did there. Now, do you remember when I made these up? I don't think we're going to need as many of these as I thought we were going to. I'm surprised that the little ring that we nipped off that we thought was so tiny is actually large enough that I can pass this through. And if you remember, when we tested the easy line out on this piece, whoops, pinged off, but I saw where it went, don't worry. The easy line went through that hole pretty easily. Okay, enough poking around here. I'm sure everybody gets the idea. I'm going to put a head of a pin here, just so that you get relationship to size. And this is our easy line. Now, the thought just went through my mind. I'm wondering, did we maybe make these things too small? Okay, if something is really, really small, it might be to scale, but when you see it on a model, for instance, what size are these rings in reality? Just for the fun of it, I'm gonna measure it and multiply it by 200, and see what would this actually be on if we did it properly to scale. But I'm wondering, are these too small? Because if something is too small, you can't see it. Literally, you can't see it. Anyway, that's my thinking right now. Okay, we should be able to get that to scale. We know that the inside is 31 thousandths, and the outside is about 60 thousandths. Well, just do the math.
Okay, so as to not frustrate you with a bunch of fumbling around with a calculator, it works out to a ring about 12 inches or so on the outside with a 6-inch hole. That's an awful big tie-down ring. I don't think in reality they would be quite that heavy duty. Maybe about half that size? Anyway, as I'm editing out these last few scenes here, movement in my surveillance monitor catches my eye, and I look up and I can see the mailman going to my neighbor's door. And he swings around and he heads towards my door. "You've got mail!" Okay, enough fooling around here. Let's have a package opening. Now I'm recognizing the return address. It's from our friend Tony. But because he may not want his address broadcast all over YouTube, I've got it covered up here. You know Tony. You've probably seen the comments in the with the various episodes regarding airbrushing and so on. He's been doing airbrushing since he was 15, and he's given us a lot of really good tips. Now, I think I know what this is. I think it has to do with painting and airbrushing. Anyway, let's just open it up. Okay, airbrush techniques, basic skills. Well, that's what I need, basic skills. And a note. Ron, I've had this for quite a few years. Well, now I guess it's been passed on to somebody who needs it. Well, we're not going to waste a lot of time here going through this. On camera, that is. I will be looking at it. I knew it was coming. I did mention to Tony that I probably, wouldn't do it all. Okay. Well, I guess you get the idea. Now I have to chuckle here. The sheets are handy to have instead of a paint mule. Thanks, Tony. That's very thoughtful. Now, speaking of mugs, I made way too big a deal of this yesterday, and people were feeling bad for me.
In fact, somebody said that they're sending me another mug. It'll be interesting to see what we get. Yeah, somebody did suggest, why don't you use it to hold your paintbrushes in? At first I kind of discarded that idea, but then I thought, hey, why not? So I guess from now on it's going to have paintbrushes. Why not? Now I had to run an errand on this windy but pleasant afternoon, so I didn't get as much done here as I'd hoped. Did a lot of fooling around with measuring and stuff like that. One thing I want to measure, though, one of the viewers had a good idea, and that was when I'm painting the deck tan in the bottom of my life rafts, why not do the ones that are still attached to the sprues? And that way you'll have them all done. Then all you have to do is, like nip them off and paint the outsides the appropriate gray. Or maybe I could just nip them off and do them all at the same time. Just make sure I label them, because some of them are different on the bottom. And they might be different on the tops too, I don't know. Anyway, I think that's it for this afternoon, folks. So thanks for watching. All being well, we'll see you again tomorrow. And thanks again, Tony.